exciting. But before we do that, let's just review what we covered with the topic on the Treaty of Waitangi and the, embedding Māori into business practice, basically. So we've got a wee matching activity, which was some of the key concepts which we talked about. You see if you can match the words. There are only 5 there. Just take your best guess.
I'm getting this so wrong.
It's okay. I guess the important point is the concepts rather than remembering the words themselves. It's about thinking about the concepts and how the concepts are important to business.
It's a wild
Wild guess. Here you go, here's the answer sheet. You can self-check.
Oh no. Oh dear. Oh, one right.
Yay.
Wow.
Okay, so pūtake is the business origin or the reason for being. So
Oh, that's too right.
kind of like the mission or the purpose of the organisation. Tūranga, the positioning or anchor of the business, so the type of business structure. So that's important because remember a lot of the Māori businesses might have a slightly different structure, especially if they're sort of related to iwi, managing iwi investments and things like that. Tikanga was the values and the rules, priorities and ways of doing business. So yeah, the tikanga of the organisation links back to strongly back to the values. And the kaitiakitanga is that principle of guardianship, so in relation to how they manage resources and their principle that we're there to look after the not just the organisation's resources but the local, environmental and social community resources, I guess, as well. And the rangatiratanga is that principle of leadership, authority, guardianship. So, they're leaders, so that's important in terms of how we manage the business, how we represent the business and so forth. So those were some of those 5 key principles for Māori businesses. And we just talked a little bit about, I don't know, do you remember much about what we talked about? It was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. We talked about how
so we were looking at sort of the fact that sort of ethics in business is particularly important for Māori businesses. There's a strong principle of corporate social responsibility embedded within how Māori businesses do business. And we talked about, there are some distinctions to make, like there are businesses that identify as Māori businesses. There are organisations that, in the public sector, for example, where we have to embed the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi into how we do business, into our policies and practices. So we may not identify as a Māori business per se, but we're still obligated and committed to those principles. And then there's private businesses which may choose not to. but many choose to do so because it's actually, they've identified that that's important in the operating environment in which we're working in, essentially. So helps us to remain competitive in that environment. We also talked a little bit about marketing, New Zealand branding, Māori branding as well. So in terms of the influence for tourism and attracting people to our country, and that's a point of difference as part of our Indigenous culture and so forth. So so a lot of those organisations using the Māori symbols and art forms and language to promote themselves as well. So some of the issues around that. So how are you going with that assignment? Great. Who's started?
I'm terrible.
Definitely time to think about starting on it. So if you can, because I think once you start on it, you'll realise it's quite a bit involved. And there's that one, and then there's still one more after that to do. For this management. So we're good to, and we've really only got sort of 4 weeks to go. So okay.
Sorry I don't sing with it today.
That's okay. You're right.
I'm just tired. I'm just a tired Monday.
No. Completely relate to that. But we'll get there. That's okay. Just do your best. It's fine. So this week we're just going to look at organisation structure charts, and some of those key principles for management in terms of chain of command and coordination. So I know that Ian might have quickly run through them with you last week when I wasn't here, but I just thought to do it justice, to go through it properly.
I kind of just took the paper.
Sure. So what we're talking about when we talk about organisation structure is about how we design the organisation, how we group people into work units. So it's a formal pattern of interactions and coordination designed by management to link the tasks of individuals and groups in order to help achieve those organisational goals. So ultimately, we know what our mission and our vision is, and we know what the organisation goals are. Then we also need to put in place the structure for how we're going to achieve those goals. And it is a management decision to decide what that structure is going to be. Now, especially with smaller organisations, it's often something that just evolves. Okay, so we may not really think of having departments or we may not think about how people work together in those units. But as the organisation grows, that might happen organically, that the departments start to form. But at some point the organisation probably needs to take control over that and go, well, okay, now we've got to this size, we need some kind of structure in place to help us coordinate.
I'm just looking at it to understand it as well.
To understand how things are working. If things could work better. Okay. So it's often about how things could work a little bit better. And so the term restructure has got a really bad connotation with people. People are like restructuring, oh my gosh, we're going to lose jobs and all that. Sometimes that happens, but a restructuring is essentially the organisation looking at how people are grouped together to do the work and thinking about whether it's the most efficient way of doing that. And whether it's going to help them meet the organisation's goals in the best way possible. Okay, so people losing jobs is sometimes an unfortunate consequence of that. When we talk about structure, we often like to have a bit of a diagrammatical sort of visual to help us understand how it's structured. And so that's your line diagram, which shows the shape of the organisation and how it's broken down into those specific work units. And it also shows the chain of command, the reporting lines. Okay, so the reporting lines, are essentially following those key lines up the chain of up the hierarchy of the organisation.
Yeah.
So do you remember earlier on in the course we talked about top level, middle level and first line managers?
Yeah.
That's basically breaking that down here, okay? So you
Yeah.
might have a communications manager, who's the first line manager, who manages your communications staff.
Yeah.
They report to a general manager of marketing, who reports directly to the chief executive. So for reporting lines, you have to be clear where the line actually goes,
Yeah.
okay? Sometimes the lines can go in all sorts of weird, wonderful ways,
Mm.
but follow the line, and that's how you know who's reporting directly to whom.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your chain of command. Yeah. Any questions about the organisation chart?
No. What about this one?
Or any? Yeah. We did talk about the difficulty of having too many levels of management, and because with our chain of command that can slow down that communication process quite significantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we've got to go through too many levels to get up to the top, then that delays action and people start to feel frustrated. It does depend on how much the chief executive or the general manager or who is at the top of the organisation is prepared to delegate their decision-making authority down the chain of command. So these are some of the key concepts that you have to get your head around when you're talking about organisation structure. Okay. So what is the difference between authority and responsibility?
Responsibility is being responsible for certain tasks or certain people, certain things. Authority is having the power, I suppose, over, or being the one that, or a person that has power over someone else or has power to make decisions and stuff like that.
Decision-making power? Yeah, absolutely. This is in your, this stuff is
Which I
quite...
forgot to get
Bring tonight. One night I do decide to use it. Okay, but in your textbooks you could just write down the page numbers, page 3112 to 313. So just in the definitions down the side, responsibility is when you have the obligation to carry out the duties and achieve the goals related to the position.
Okay.
Authority is when you have the right to make the decisions and carry out the actions and direct others to do those things.
Oh, yes,
And accountability is when you are the one that's required to provide a reason for any variation from the expected target or expected result.
yeah.
Okay. So, as a chief executive, you can delegate. So delegation is the next concept, is when you assign some of your workload to a lower level manager or another manager.
Yeah.
You can delegate, and you're also delegating responsibility, so they still have to try and carry out the goals and objectives, but you can't necessarily delegate the accountability. If that person doesn't do it, then you're still the one that gets into a difficult situation if it hasn't been achieved.
Yeah.
So if you're a manager, you need to be quite careful, in terms of who you delegate to.
Yeah.
Do they have the knowledge, the skills and abilities to undertake the task that you're delegating?
Yeah.
Do you trust them to achieve that? Have they got the ability to achieve that? Have they got the resources and the time to achieve it? Yeah. Because ultimately you can give them the responsibility for it, but you're still the one that's accountable for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are some kind of really important principles. Those first four.
Yeah.
There's an example here. Okay. Delegation is really important when it comes to our structure, because if every single decision has to go up to the chief executive, it slows things down far too much.
Yeah.
The chief executive has to be able to delegate to their marketing manager, their HR manager, their operations manager, and say, you guys are responsible for these key outcomes, and I'll hold you accountable for them. Ultimately, I held the ultimate accountability, but I expect you to achieve them, you know.
Yeah.
And then give them the authority to do so. So then you've got to give them decision-making authority. So that might mean giving them financial resources, so budgetary authority.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to sign off up to $5,000 worth of, you know, purchasing.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got to be able to give them authority to make certain decisions. And often in a larger organisation, especially a bureaucratic organisation, they will specify what things you have the authority to make decisions about.
Yeah.
And what you don't have the authority to make decisions about. And what you're allowed to spend money on, what you can't spend money on.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore that's quite well prescribed.
Yeah.
Especially in highly formalised organisations. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.
And the problem with delegating, you know, if you are in a management position, is that sometimes it's really quite tempting to go, well, if I do it myself, I know it's going to be done right.
Yeah. But then you take on too much.
But then you
work
take
load.
on too much work.
Yeah.
You can't do everything. You slow down the process too much.
Yeah.
You slow down decision making too much, and it becomes, you know, and also the problem with that is you don't empower and enable your staff.
Yeah, well that's a good point, yeah.
So when you delegate, you also are promoting staff improvement and
Yeah.
and their career development by giving them opportunities to prove that they can do
Yeah.
new things.
And some sort of like flexibility or freedom as well in their job.
Yeah, so, you know, when we've talked about job design factors in terms of, we've talked about things like, you know, having autonomy and skill variety and those sorts of factors in the work. Well, you know, delegating decision-making responsibility down the chain of command actually can foster that sense of job enrichment and job enlargement for people, so that they do feel that they have more of those factors that are contributing to their overall sense of job satisfaction in the workplace.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. You don't want to overload your lower level staff, so there's a real balancing act.
Yes.
Really about knowing, you know, who's capable of what and getting, you know, having some control over it. And this is where I think the last class that we had, we're talking about controlling.
Yeah.
But controlling is quite closely linked with this topic.
Yeah.
Because we are controlling decision making basically through this process of structure. Okay. Departmentalisation. What comes to mind when we talk about departmentalisation?
Putting things into departments.
Putting things into departments, exactly. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Clustering individuals into units and units into departments and larger units to facilitate achieving organisational goals. Okay. Again, obviously, it's probably not going to happen in very small,
Yeah.
you know, businesses. So it's hard to sometimes relate to that. Have you worked in an organisation where we have departments?
Yeah, and I've worked in several departments.
Yeah. There's different departments.
Yeah.
So you kind of get an idea about that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. That's good. So departmentalisation is just, you know, it's labelling a group of people and say, you're the HR department, you're the marketing department, you're the research and development department, and we can departmentalise in different ways.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in a moment. But within these key concepts, with horizontal coordination and vertical coordination are also quite crucial.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of what you probably, you know, when horizontal we're talking about across the organisation, vertical we're talking about up and down within the organisation. Okay, so going back to our chart, who would the marketing manager be communicating with if they're communicating, if they're coordinating horizontally?
Marketing manager.
Yeah.
What are the other managers?
Yep, the general manager for operations, general manager for HR, and general manager for finance.
Yeah.
How would the marketing manager be coordinating work if if it's vertical coordination?
The top management and their own staff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So chief executive and lower staff, lower line position. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. Vertical coordination is linking activities from the top to the middle to the bottom of the organisation, and horizontal coordination is linking activities across those different departmental areas. And you might have heard of organisations talk about operating in silos.
Yeah.
Where the departments don't seem to talk to each other, and it can become a real problem. That's because there's no
culture as well.
Yeah, and culture affects it as well. And that's where you can see that horizontal coordination isn't really happening very well.
Yeah.
So what's some things you think an organisation could do to improve horizontal coordination?
Perhaps different projects where they work together. Together, or opening up like communication lines, and shared tasks.
Yeah. So create work teams or project teams or something like that helps with the vertical coordination. Horizontal coordination. Horizontal coordination, we can also do things like management meetings and things like that.
Oh yeah.
We can have a weekly management meeting where the marketing manager, HR manager, the finance manager all get together and actually talk to each other, which is really quite helpful.
Yeah.
Even if they're bringing to attention each other's ideas or whatever, but what's going on, it just means that you're not necessarily reinventing the wheel. Across those different departments, you might find that you've got problems that are similar that can easily be resolved, or the marketing managers found a solution that works really well, and then they can share it with the finance manager.
Yeah.
So that's one of those tools for horizontal coordination, is just having meetings, having those cross-functional sort of project groups or work streams, and I'm just trying to find the book. Is there anything else? You can't see anything else. Might be able to find some more ideas in the book, but that's all I can think of at this point in time. Okay. So vertical coordination, if we want to improve vertical coordination, then we need to, we can look at those processes of delegation and how they've been, who's got decision-making authority. That can help us to improve that vertical coordination. We can, formalisation is another key one there in terms of vertical coordination. So writing the policies and procedures and rules, that will help us, because that provides the framework overall of how we're supposed to do things, right?
Yeah.
And that gives us guidelines for tasks and activities. So that helps us to coordinate vertically, essentially. Small organisations tend to be more informal, large organisations more formal. But we need those policies, procedures to help us with, make sure that everybody knows what's required. Yeah. Otherwise, it's really at the whim of, if the marketing manager tells us to do it, but the HR manager doesn't bother, then there's inconsistency across the organisation. So we actually need to have that consistency. We need that level of formalisation. To assist with vertical coordination, there's also this concept of span of management. Okay, which is, I think I've mentioned before, and I think this over here, will come, span of management, span of control, someone's talked about. It's about how many subordinates does each manager manage.
Oh, yeah.
So in a tall organisation structure, you might have each manager's managing 4 staff. So to get 4,096, workers, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 levels in the organisation structure.
Okay, yeah.
But in a flatter structure, where we've got a wider span of control,
Yeah.
so each manager's managing 8 staff,
Yeah.
we only need 4 levels of management there. Now that's really simplistic. It's never going to be that every manager manages the same number.
Yeah.
But when we're deciding organisation structure, we can decide whether we're going to have a tall structure or a flat structure. And what do you think the advantages might be of a tall versus a flat structure?
I think that possibly it could help with communications because managers have less staff to manage.
Yeah.
So it's easier to control as well, so the control is easier in that way. I feel like it's probably a little bit more structured generally as well, whereas with a flatter structure, I suppose possibly a bit more open, the communication's open in different ways as well. I don't know what the pros and cons.
Yeah.
Like,
It's hard. No, you're getting there. You're getting it. Yeah, you're getting the general gist of it because you're thinking about it, which is great.
Yeah.
So the flat organisational structure, you've got more people. You've got more people to manage, so you do have less control. There is an advantage of a taller structure, is you've got more control.
Yeah.
So when you've got that narrow span of management, that often you see that in a higher risk industries, like where you need to have more oversight. Where health and safety is more of an important factor, or there's some really crucial stuff that must be done. And it's often when you've got highly formalised, cultures as well, because you need that structure in place to, to keep good oversight of what people are doing. A flatter organisational structure is often used in those more innovative industries, where you want people to have more autonomy, more risk-taking behaviour, more outside-the-box thinking, more, it's really about more innovation and stuff. So the less oversight, and when people have got the knowledge, skills and abilities to undertake the jobs that they need to undertake, you can have a flatter structure. Okay? Because you know that they're going to be able to still achieve those tasks, and they don't need that level of control. But communication is definitely hindered by a taller structure, especially if we have more centralised decision making. So centralised decision making is when the top level doesn't delegate and holds on to decision making. So we talk about organisations being centralised or decentralised as well, and that can happen on either flat or tall structures. We have centralised or decentralised decision making. But if it happens in a tall structure and we have centralised decision making, it just means that the communication has to go so many more levels up the tree before an answer is obtained, and then all the way back down. And the problem is we get Chinese whispers and things happening, distorted information. In a flat structure, if it's centralised, it's only got to go 2 levels anyway. So communication is faster. In a flat structure, you might find that decision making is more decentralised anyway, because it can be. Just because of the nature of the industry that they're working in. So that's your span of management or your span of control. So think about how competent are the people that you're managing. What's the risk if you don't maintain close control? What's the frequency and seriousness of problems that might arise? And how motivated are staff as well? So that's the key. That's one of the key things in terms of vertical coordination is that span of management. So there is a bit of a trend to take out a level of management and widen your span of control. Because the manager's more expensive and it hinders that communication process.
Yeah.
but we have to be mindful of the potential consequences of that as well. So usually when they talk about restructuring an organisation, it might be changing how the departments are structured, but it also might mean taking out a level of management or putting in a level of management.
Yeah.
I.e. increasing or decreasing their span of control.
Yeah.
We also, I'm going to lose my voice in a minute. We also talk about work specialisation and job design. And we've talked about that before, but the work specialisation is how we cluster jobs together, like, you know, people who are all doing marketing, all are specialising in marketing.
Yeah.
All like accounting staff specialising in accounting and so forth.
Yeah.
And so that work specialisation is great because it allows people to develop expertise in particular areas, but it also can be difficult in that it creates those silos and we may not be learning off those other departmental areas. So and it doesn't add variety. So in terms of job design, with job design, you know, it might be sort of prudent to think about, you know, we specialise in this particular area, but we have those cross-functional work teams or project groups that facilitate, you know, that development, so we're not just specialising completely.
Yeah.
Makes sense? That makes sense, yeah. So I mentioned that we can choose different departmental approaches.
Yeah.
And these are just some of them. Now the textbook sort of talks about some other ones as well. What we've looked at so far is just a functional approach, where we're grouping the work units by a certain work function. Yeah. HR, accounting, finance, research and development, production, whatever. Okay, so they all might be working on multiple, all working on all of the products or services provided by the organisation, but they're clumped into those particular functional areas. Another possibility is that we group organisations by divisions. So divisions divisions might actually be based on lots of different things. It could be based on the geographic location. So we have the North Island division and the South Island division in New Zealand. You know, in America, obviously you can have like, you know, in the States you could have like huge in Australia and so forth. It could be by particular product or service or process or customer. So it could be that you have a different division for the public customers versus your private customers, or different, a different division for your cutting versus your painting versus your assembly. So you just break them into departments according to slightly different groupings. Now, organisations might choose to do that because it does provide a bit more of that, cross-functional expertise, and it allows them to focus on what's the finished product or service we're trying to offer here. So we're working less in a silo and we're focusing on the end goal, the product or the service. So it allows organisations to be a bit more flexible and a bit more adaptable and meet the needs of their customers more readily, essentially. Okay. So for example, I think you mentioned here, Polytech we do have some divisions. We've had sort of the industry training, we've had the music and audio, we've had they're based on the product or service or the location of what we're delivering here. Not just having a marketing and HR and so forth, a functional approach. Yeah. You can have a hybrid or a matrix. A hybrid is where you have both functional and divisional. And your textbook has some diagrams of these if you want to look at them.
So is a hybrid like a team? Is that team-based?
No. Hybrid, I don't know, they didn't mention it in your actual there's a hybrid, so a hybrid might have. So again, it's like it doesn't necessarily matter how you draw it, it's about where does that main line go. So both the functional and the divisional managers report directly to the chief executive in a hybrid model. Yeah. Okay. And it's similar to a matrix, but it's slightly different. In a matrix model, you would have, so there's some functional, there's some divisional, and then in a matrix, you have basically got two reporting lines typically.
Yeah.
Okay, so you report to both the functional and the divisional line manager, and that can get really confusing.
Yeah.
And it often happens for specific sort of short-term projects.
Yeah.
You know, we were like, okay, well, let's have both approaches, and then it can evolve into a sort of more permanent, ongoing structure.
Because a lot of big companies use this as well.
Yeah, like the DHBs and stuff use it because they often have a managerial reporting line and a clinical reporting line.
Yeah.
Okay? So you might have two because we need to maintain clinical oversight, but that's different to managerial operational oversight.
Yeah.
So it gets really complicated. Team-based is where we just create specific teams for specific purposes. So that's a kind of a more modern approach as well.
Yeah.
Just creating, okay, we're working on a new product and we'll be able to put a team together with select people with specific expertise. So say Apple want to design a new, you know, well, their iCar, whatever they've got, Apple car, you know, they will have put together a project team, you know, a team-based approach to, you know, getting the expertise there to develop that particular product, I guess. That's one way of doing it. And a network approach, a network is where we've got more of a electronically connected organisation. And that's happening a lot these days as well. You don't necessarily have, you can still divide the organisation into departments based on, but everybody's, you know, located in different geographic locations, but you can, how we're interacting is via Zoom or Skype or FaceTime or, you know, your different models for having those, they might call them boundaryless organisations as well.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, we're essentially a network connected via a central hub with electronic documents. You know, we might be using SharePoint or Centre or whatever, or Google Docs or whatever you want to use to manage and collaborate on the projects. So lots of different approaches with different, obviously, advantages and disadvantages for each. The divisional was much faster response time and much more adaptable than the old functional approach. But typically, you know, it's quite common that you see a functional approach, and then an organisation will grow to the extent that they go, we're not responsive enough to a customer's needs, we need to change, we'll restructure, we'll go to a divisional approach or a hybrid or a matrix or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can be more responsive and more adaptable.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, people might be, jobs might be reconsidered. So, here's a week activity. Can you draw an organisation chart for the following company? Have a go.
Just down the bottom.
Yeah, just down the bottom. Have a laugh.
doing on a piece of paper.
Okay. It's quite tricky, eh? There you go.
Okay, so instead of finishing this entire thing, this is going to go out even more. You'd have what, your CEO at the top,
CEO, yeah.
then directly underneath, I've got which country. So you've got, what was it, Canada, Australia, Germany, so you'd each have.
Hang on,
Yeah.
let's look at what they're actually asking now. They currently have a functional structure of the following positions reporting directly to the chief executive. They're just asking you to draw what they currently have.
Oh, so we're not drawing, we're drawing what they currently have.
Yeah.
And they're functional.
Yep.
Okay, so you've got,
That should make it easier.
yes, I was like trying to.
All the other stuff is actually really just extraneous information to put you off.
Okay, so they've got their financial team,
Yeah.
technology, and planning and administration.
Director Financial, Director Technology, Director
Planning and administration.
Planning and Admin,
And then we've got the director of operations.
Director Operations,
And then they've got people who report to the director of operations, who are the managers of marketing.
Manufacturing,
And distribution.
yep, Supply and Distribution. Okay, that's easier, isn't it?
That's way easier.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty much what it should look like.
Yeah, that's not what I was doing, because I was like,
You were going off on
Expand
it. But if they were going to restructure, then you could restructure by the geographic location.
yeah,
Or you could restructure by the product that they're delivering.
yeah.
So they were delivering
So yes, they've got their
hunting and fishing, outdoor,
fashion.
fashion. That would be by product type. You
Yeah.
could structure it. You could have a director of hunting and fishing, a director of outdoor, a director of, sports, whatever. Or you could have a director of Canada, director of Australia, director of Germany,
Yeah,
and have focus on the geographic location and make it more adaptable to their needs. But the current structure is just that straightforward,
yeah.
functional structure, essentially. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bit of a trick question.
Why is marketing under the
That was
director of operations?
That could probably be in one of the planning and administration.
Yeah.
But if you've got them under, the problem with putting marketing separate to manufacturing and supply and distribution is that marketing runoff is start selling, marketing or advertising all these products and services that manufacturing can't keep up with production,
Yeah.
and supply and distribution can't keep up,
Mm.
and then if they don't coordinate, they're actually in big trouble.
Yeah. That makes
Okay.
sense.
So there's no point marketing selling 100,000 units to,
Mm.
Canada if manufacturing can't produce 100,000 units
Yeah.
in the time frame required. Or supply and distribution can't logistically get them there,
Yeah.
no sort of transport them. So those three actually do have to work quite closely together.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Yeah. So that's where you might see them working together. It's a really good book. on the shelf and wait for us. Yeah, we're pretty much done. Yeah, it is the goal. There you go. Read that one. A process of ongoing improvement, a theory of constraints. So basically it's about identifying where is the, if there's a, you can't see
That's all right. That's all the then.
that. It's Elahio M. Goldratt. Basically identifying, if there's that one weakness in the system, like why does an organisation not succeed? Because there's usually like one, there's often one little flaw in the system, like that one machine is a bottleneck for the whole production, everything else works smoothly, but there's one machine where everything gets held up and throws it all out of kilter.
Yeah.
Or there's one part of the process that doesn't quite work,
Yeah.
So it's about identifying those that actually, you can probably borrow the copy from my office if you are really keen to read it. It is quite useful. Or there might be one in the library.
Yeah.
Have a look. Yeah. I found it quite interesting. But anyway, that's pretty much us for today. Next week, so there's some reading there to do, and you can carry on working on the assignment too.
Yeah.
But next week we'll look at, on Tuesday, 3:30, we'll look at the leadership stuff. Okay? Because Monday is our Queen's birthday weekend. Are you going to go away?